the council of the seven of the world. In every age since time began, but seven sages lived. At first of every age, these sages meet to note the course of nations, people, tribe, and tongues, to note how far towards justice and love the race has gone. So every 7 years, you have something that's taking place with these sages. And they're making an assessment on the human race. Where they at? All right. To formulate the Ode of Law, religious postulates and plans of rule best suited to the coming age. An age has passed, and lo, another age had come. The sages must convene. Now, Alexandria was the center of the world's best thought. Alexandria, what they call Egypt. And here, in Philo's home, the sages met. From China came Mingst. From India came Vyapati. From Persia came Casper. From Assyria came Ashbina. From Greece, Apollo came. Matheno was the Egyptian sage, and Philo was the chief of Hebrew thought. The time was due. The council met and sat in silence 7 days. And Majesty rose and said, the wheel of time has turned once more. The race, right, the human race is on a higher plane of thought. The garments that our fathers wore have given out. The cherubim have woven a celestial cloth, have placed it in our hands, and we must take for men new garbs. The sons of men are looking up for greater light. Right? This humanity is trending towards the light, right? The Aquarian age for right now. That's what currently we in the Aquarian age. Right? So humans are trending towards the truth. Some at faster clips than other. Right? No longer do they care for gods honed out of wood. They seek for Allah not made with hands. They see the beams of coming days and yet comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion well these garments for the race, and let us make for men new garbs of justice, mercy, and love. And they may hide their nakedness when shines the light of the coming days.
Islam, brother. Can you explain the meaning of sages?
Okay, there we go. We got some good. That's what I'm talking about. Hit me with the questions. All right, so a little background in this line I'm talking about, yeah. The Council of the Seven of the World, right? So you have as above, so below principle in everything, even how information is dispensed. There's degrees and perspective on based on what degree you're dealing with. So we're talking about the seven sages. They listed some men right here, right? Or leaders of thought in these areas. But also you got dealing with the seven Elohim. And that's why I kind of put out there that we happen to be in the Aquarian age, because this is an age as well. And you know, as we progress, men try to trend towards their optimal self, their most deific self, or some people say activate the Christ, because because we are in the flesh, so everybody is not going to sin like others, but humanity trends to, like in the Aquarian age, everybody is going to naturally want to seek the truth. But some people are ahead of the game, like us, like people in the more science and stuff like that, compared to the people that don't know the info. We're ahead, but still the pool of humanity is still, like you say, people who's trying to eat healthier, They starting to do yoga more. You know, they're thinking about energy and chakras, and everybody's like, "Oh, what's your sign?" And
Islam.
you know, don't kill my vibe. And people are
Yeah.
people are into energy now,
Yeah.
even if they don't know.
So
They
it's connected to the seven principles.
exactly hermetic.
Exactly.
Mm,
Islam.
Islam. All right, so the human race is trending. All right, and Vidyapati said, our priests have gone mad. They saw a demon in the wilds, and at him cast their lamps, and they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrines of Allah. All right, so we're coming from an age where everybody's becoming adept in their own way. Everybody's becoming knowledgeable of what this is about. It's not about one man, you know, preacher, rabbi, you know, church, mosque, synagogue, whatever the case may be. It's not about one man just know everything, and the general population, the general congregation is not fact checking. They're not doing anything. You know, now we're trending towards a space where people are getting toward more Gnostic. They're seeing that there's instructions that everybody can put in work to reach their higher self, right? Um, Inform and do good work with other men that are in their higher self, men or women. And it doesn't have to be cookie cutter. It doesn't have to be a charter. It doesn't have to be you got to get this done before y'all can do this. Nah, we know the recipe now. All we gotta do is know the light, try your best to become the light, messages, and link up with other people that are in that type of vein and try to do good work. Rather it's centralizing money while setting up businesses, um, getting the brotherhood and sisterhood bond, and the list goes on. And now we on the same footing as everybody else that know their culture and got neighborhoods and things like that. Um, so that's why the priesthood cannot be reformed is already dead. So that's when you hear these statements, the priesthood is dead. That's what we're dealing with. It's not really about a priest guiding you to your divinity. There's instructions all over the world where you can guide yourself. And then you'll be on one accord with other people that are doing the same, right? So where are we at here? The new age calls for liberty. I got read that. We're on 19. And Casper said, in Persia, people walk in fear. They do the good for fear to do the wrong. The devil is the greatest power in our land. And through a myth, he dandles on his knees both young and age, both youth and age, or basically young and old. Our land is dark, and evil prospers in the dark. Fear rides on every passing breeze and lurks in every form of life. The fear of evil is a myth, is an illusion and snare, but it will live until some mighty power shall come to raise the ethers of the plane of light. So that's why I always say we have to demonstrate. The ones that got the light, it's an activity that's taking place now. Even though it is two levels, that's why Noble Joe Ali said, if you don't do nothing else, just declare your nationality. That's cool. That's better than nothing. All right. But when you talk about citizenship and birthrights, and now we're talking about activity that needs to take place. The people that know that have declared and know who they are, need to work together and demonstrate in this age of time. Until this age goes in the casket and we're not having a fleshly experience no more. Every age of physical existence have had what they call prophets or wise men or people that set the tone on evolving humanity, right? Because it's a stagnant state that man is in that he doesn't need to be in. And sometimes he just don't know the information exists to even try to transform. We're through Reconstruction, the Papal Bulls, Christian Black Hole, Spanish Inquisition, a lot, they try to keep this information away so we don't evolve like we're supposed to. But we got the light for a reason. It's a reason we come across this information. It's a reason we've comprehended it like we comprehended to do good work with the information. Everybody wasn't privy to come across this. Some people are still ignorant, right? So, any thoughts on this chapter? Any thoughts, comments, statements?
I need investors to get this off the ground. I don't really have any connection.
On the council.
Very, very interesting what you're saying, because you can see the change when you working in the right direction. You see the change, and you can see the difference, as you was just saying, when you studying and when you are, I don't know, you just see things totally different, and you can't. It's no going back. There's no going back. Once you study and you see the real, and you can prove that that's real, you see everything totally different. Life is no more the same, and you have to stay in the path. You can see the two different people are in the same as they were. An example, when I go back to Oakland vacation, the same guys standing on the same corner talk about, hey man, give me $1, give me a quarter, give me a nickel. They haven't advanced. They're in the same state of mind, frozen in a matrix. And when you move on with them, you educate yourself, because if you're not evolving, you're doing nothing. And when you educate yourself, you see the difference in Islam.
Islam. Father Vernon Watson Bay, Islam. So the other Samsung, I think that's Hanuna. But peace and love to both of y'all. I think I figured it out.
Peace and love, Morris.
Peace and love. Any other thoughts on this particular chapter before we continue? Okay. Sure. So we have a quote from Prophet Noble Jew Ali. I have mended the broken wires and have connected them to the higher powers. That's what we just talking. We just summarized with it. That one little statement. That's basically what we was talking about.
Islam, right on point.
Mended the broken wires. You know better, you do better, right? Or strive.
That's the synchronicity of the spirit.
It's live. It's live. Hermetic principles in action, right? Can't make this up. All right, so we transition into a little different space, but still relative. Where does the wealth of government come from? The people. All right, so the people, throughout our endeavors, affairs, pursuits of happiness, exercise of rights, etc. In order to paint a picture, let's go back in time to the time of merchants, markets, and travelers by horseback. Street merchants, the people, would often trade goods and services for gold or money, spices, clothes, etc., which is called bartering. When dealing with society, sociology, civics, and human nature, we are dealing with descendant elements and various degrees of people. Merchants often had to deal with bandits, thieves, stagecoach robbers, highwaymen, and outlaws. To protect the affairs, welfare, and livelihood of the people, those merchants were together in order to formulate a plan to protect themselves. So let's think about this. So we got merchants and business owners that got culture, nationality. They're all coming together for the protection of each other, right? All right. So this meeting of the minds formulated a philosophy, and that philosophy is known as political science. This science opened up many new jobs, duties, official positions within society. Right? People are elected to do stuff, clerks, treasurers, sheiks, mayors, whatever they're calling them. But organization of amongst the people had to come about for the protection of the people anciently. This is political science. This science opened up, once again, many new jobs, duties, official positions within society, ranging from clerks, administrators, trustees, magistrates, male men and women, consulates, embassies, secretaries, executives, judicial officers, sheriffs, and the like. This new science and history of robbery, death, and the like gave birth to the philosophies of governmental duties and jurisprudence. The sole duty of government can be reflected in the opening lines of the Declaration of Independence, where it states the following. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a dissent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impelled them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government. So basically what we read earlier, Declaration of Independence, which you see where they get their lingo from. You're talking about ancient principles of what humans on Earth been doing for since BC time, before BC time. People been merchants, people been industrious, people had clans and families, tribes, but these clans, families, and tribes, which are also merchants and industrious, they came together with other people of their national descent that were doing the same thing. Why did they come together? Because you had lower self-activity from people that were trying, so they had to link up, form confederations, erect empires, elect people to do something, have a covenant with each other, like this is how the script gonna go, and we all gonna have allegiance to it. Now you got protection. Now you got sharifs, you got muftis, you got sultans, you got emperors, you got prince, sultanas, different jurisdictions, all working together in a government structure for protection. Got a military, whatever the case may be, the people will figure it out. All right, so let's go here. Its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light transient causes. And accordingly, all experience have shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object invents a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. So yeah, you can have a government and that's cool too, but once that structure is not suitable for the people for whatever reason, that's where you got revise. You can revise things and restructure things. But even that is still an agreement of the people. So whatever direction you go, it's the people. It's a republic. All right. It is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. As the times change, the administration of governments may have changed, but its purpose has never and will change. You got something rolling? Or who was that?
You think that's happening? You think that's happening now?
With what? The United States?
Yes. With the
Um,
things you see today you hear on these channels and all the news, do you think that people are changing their mind from what they seeing and what they was heard? You know, because people say one thing, but then they yet do another thing, and it's really in the face now.
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. See, with the United States, their internal government is all a show, so it's so tricky with them. But the people at large that are complaining about Trump or complaining about any president, they don't know the power they have. Like, as far as it ain't gotta be nothing like too radical. It's just simply just 100 to 200 people locked in on how they gonna move. You just insulated yourself. You got money to do whatever. You can hire whoever. You got internal
Yeah.
treasury. Everybody got to just stick to the script. We ain't got, like I said,
Now
we
it's
ain't
the
got to say
perfect time.
perfect
It's
time.
the perfect time. Perfect time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a constitutional international right. People with the same culture can link up and form organizations.
Yeah.
And then if that culture is indigenous, you got it, that opens up a whole nother door of, you know what I mean? So,
So,
and it's not really the thing of it's just doing it. Because once it's done, it's kind of like whoever been in jail, whoever been in prison, all the inmates just don't do nothing. They're not going to work, do nothing. What
yeah.
happens is the heads come out, oh, what can we do? The people that's running the prison, the wardens and all that, what can we do for y'all? Because they need the inmates to do the work to keep it going. You know what I mean? It's the same
Yes,
thing.
Islam.
If the people of North America who are Aboriginal indigenous to the land all wake up one day, oh man, we finna work together. It ain't about bashing nobody else. We don't got to be like they did us wrong. We don't got to say nothing about that. Who cares? All right,
Nothing.
we
That's
just work
it. That's
together.
old.
Yeah, we just work together. That's it. We just start doing stuff. You know what
I see it
happens?
happening. I see it happening already.
You just got to just do it.
It's happening already. Islam.
Islam. So that's
Islam.
Islam. But that's you got something?
Yeah, but it's such a slow pace, y'all, because of all the systematic programming that's been done to our people over the generations. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of our people live in fear. You know what I'm saying? They've been programmed to not trust each other, been programmed to think that their brother is against them. And 9 times out of 10, it's true because everything that they did, they systematically planted crack in New York, planted crack in different areas in the 70s and stuff. They systematically had all our brothers go to Vietnam, get hooked on that heroin, that opium and stuff, and come back here. They didn't have no help. They wouldn't give them no jobs. It's been done for generations. So it is a tough journey that we have as trying to build a nation inside of a fraudulent nation, Islam.
That's
Yeah.
why it's so important to be on the same page. That everybody on the same page, because confusion is the master. So that's why it's so important that we're all on the same page. Islam.
Yeah, Islam. Yeah, that's the war. The war right now is on the education, how things went. You know, stripping you from that, so we won't be motivated. And we know it's easier said than done. But that's why I use practical numbers. Like, look, we just need 100 to 200 people, and we can start having some incremental growth. Like literally, like every year we got something jumping off that's progressive. You know, um, let's see here where I leave off at. Uh, okay, once government stops protecting your rights, uses fear to guide a public opinion in order to persuade its people to give up their rights via trickery, deceit. That's what Hassan just said, right? That's their tactic. They're using that against, right? So we don't be inspired to work together. All right, that ain't gonna work. See what they did to Black Wall Street. Give it up. You feel me? So that's why I say we don't have to come so like rah rah. It ain't about, we don't gotta say nothing. Matter of fact, the more organized we get, the less we do say actually. We just peaceful, we just, we do our habits and customs internally to keep the bond that we got. The people that are woke want to just keep it tight. That's all.
The war won with no words,
But no words. Action.
actions. Islam.
Islam. Okay, so right, using fear to guide public opinion in order to persuade its people to give up their rights via trickery, deceit, misprision, coercion, and attacks upon very people they pretend to protect. Those persons, agents, and agencies clearly stop being government, position themselves within the realm of existence as de facto, thus no longer being government by the people, which is de jure, and become government over the people, which is now a tyrannical de facto situation. For example, how they run into democracy. A mob in the seat of government, the unworthy in the seats of honorable, noble women and noble men. So the positions of public officials rightfully belong to the liberals. So who are the liberals? We're not talking about the United States political parties. We're talking about liberal in the sense of what it means etymology wise, or what it been meaning, right? Befitting free people, noble, generous, willing, zealous, from the Latin liberalis, which comes from noble, gracious, munificent, generous, literally a freedom pertaining to or befitting a free person, free, unrestricted, impeded, unbridled. So that's what liberal literally means. So government structure is supposed to be governed by the nobles. The nobles are the ones, because when you're talking about government, you're talking about what's best suited for the people. What are the best conditions we can create for ourselves so we can thrive, advance, cognitively, economically, and then we want to put our children on, or generation after us, and teach them how to do the same thing. And maybe not take so long to get cracking, because it took us a while to kind of figure this out. So we want them to just have immediately, so they ain't got to waste no time, so they can take it farther than we took it, and then say they're gonna do the same thing for their offspring. So that's really how this is supposed to work. You start thinking about yourself per se. So there is no separation between church and state. As good moral character and ethical conduct is mandatory to become a part of public office due to the nature of the positions and the duties they entail. Muslims, Jews, Christian, Buddhists, etc. They all may be all congressmen and women, as well as holding other positions in government. The only regulation on religion is set in Article 6, Clause 3 of the American Constitution. And I just saw the chat late, but yeah, it's similar to like Nine-L was saying with the dues union, like in the construction industry, that everybody that has a skill in a trade, they have a union. And that's how unions were created. It was just a bunch of people, talking about their rights, the pay scale that they should be on based on the work they're doing. And that, they're less inclined to be mistreated compared to some non-union, right? So that's a good example. I saw that in the chat late. Another example on how church, religion, nature's law, and nature's God is not separated from state, which is the administration of government and the people, is revealed in the following religious texts in common law, stare decisis, and res judicata. All right, so in the Bible, when you're looking at Matthew 23:11, These simple one-liners, the greatest among you will be your servant. That's trust law. That's government structure. The people are electing a trustee. The people are electing somebody that they feel best fit out of that pool to do diplomacy, to whatever. Um, that's trust law. That's government. And also in the Circle 7, when we're talking about the magistrate and subject, it's the same principles. When you look at that, I'm not sure whoever read that chapter in Circle 7. O thou, the favorite in heaven, whom the sons of men, thy equals, have agreed to raise up sovereign power and set as a ruler over themselves. So the people are electing a ruler. And a ruler is not a tyrant, it's a measuring stick. It's actually a ruler. It's a measuring stick of the people in that particular jurisdiction. That's what a ruler is. Consider the ends and importance of their trust, facts more than the dignity and heights of their station. It's not about the station, not about the position. It's about what the people elected you to do. And are you suitable to do it? Not to get cocky about the position. It's just, what it is. Thou art clothed in purple. Anciently purple, not only the crown chakra, but denotes royalty. And seated on the throne, the crown of majesty investeth thy temples. The scepter of power is placed in thy hand, but not for thyself were these and signs given, not meant for thy own, but for the good of thy kingdom. So the people who elected you for the well-being of the kingdom, not for you to, like I say, get big-headed or whatever the case may be. All right, so this is ancient. The glory of a king is the welfare of his people. And once again, just that alone is trust law. The king or the sultan, whatever, the emir, sharif, the khan, these are all elected officials or trustees. The general people of the government, the people that are, putting in energy into the government, are the beneficiaries. So now we're talking about an estate and how things can be passed down based on the type of organization the people are having amongst themselves to even to qualify or erect international law or erect international laws. Inheritance laws. Once again, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent to be governed. So back to the Circle 7, chapter 10, unity of Allah and man, verse 12. And Jesus said, the Allah I speak about is everywhere. He cannot be compassed with walls, nor hedged about with bounds of any kind. All people worship Allah the one, but all the people see him not alike. This universal Allah is wisdom, will, and love. All men see not the triune Allah. One sees him as Allah the might, another as Allah the thought, another as Allah the love. A man's ideal is his God, and so as man unfolds, his God unfolds. Man's God today, tomorrow is not God. The nations of the earth see Allah from different points of view, and so he does not seem the same to everyone. Man names the part of Allah he sees, and this to him is all of Allah. And every nation sees a part of Allah, and every nation has a name for Allah. You Brahmins call him Parabrahm. In Egypt, he is Thoth. And Zeus, he is the name in Greece. Jehovah is his Hebrew name. But everywhere he is the causeless cause and the rootless root from which all things are grown. Chapter 35, Circle 7. There is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. The sun is not Allah, though his noblest image. He enlighteth the world with his brightness. His warmth giveth life to the products of the earth. Admire him as a creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. So tie this in with the trustee that got elected. The son is the trustee of Allah. Is not to be worshiping the sun. See how we took this from a below to as above? It's the same, see how the same principles? See how the universe is trust law?
Islam.
Right. So the sun, the Elohim is the trustees. But the Elohim is not
Islam.
they didn't create the heavens of the universe. They're not creating the heaven and the universe, but it's something that the heaven and the universe created that you can see. That's something that's tangible. And these Elohims give energies to human beings and give them their temperament, their thought process, their emotions, the way they think. Right?
It's amazing. This whole Circle 7 is a masterpiece.
It is, man.
It's a masterpiece. Like I say, perfectly designed for us. It's a masterpiece. It got to be studied really good. It's a master and so simple. Simple. Simple.
Islam.
Islam.
So to the one who is supreme, most wise and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanks, giving praise, who shaketh the earth and the nations tremble. Her watch. Hold on. She left her watch. Let me mute this. Her phone on her lap is pretty. Hello? I gotta turn this off. Okay. Huh. Who shaketh the earth and the nations tremble? Who dareth his lightning and the wicked are dismayed? O reverence the majesty of Omnipotent, and tempt not his anger, lest thou be destroyed. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. And now that's what I'm talking. So that's the tie. So we went from talking about how humans having a flesh experience will organize government for the protection of themselves. But also there's laws in the universe, right? So we're talking about the Hermetic principles. We're talking about law governing the universe that humans can implement as part of their life to have a better experience. And then once these humans implement the laws of the universe, they implement man law or carnal, which now you get the sultans and the emperors. Now you get the boots on the ground. But these people that are organizing understand their higher self. They understand international law. They understand Hermetic principles as well. So it's as above, so below. It's coinciding. Just like the Zodiac Constitution, right? We have people in position based on what they do naturally. Or ideally, when you're setting up government, you want people in positions that naturally do that position well. It ain't work for them. We need communicators. We want people, governed by Mercury, for example. They do it naturally. For an example. If we lift up our eyes to the heavens, his glory shineth forth. If we cast them down on earth, it is full of his goodness. The hills and the valleys rejoice and sing. Fields, rivers, and woods resound in his praise. But thee he have distinguished with particular favor, and exalted thy station above all creatures. All right, so even the human as distinguished from the animal, we got a higher station than the creatures. We have a different cognitive ability. All right, so we can go on to another aspect because I want y'all to, hear that from, trust laws in the holy books. Trust law is not just, a carnal thing. It's very ancient. And people that have a trust are looked at differently. That's how you take yourself out of the minority status as well, is how we're organizing amongst each other after we declare. is not just declaring yourself, it's the things you do after you declare that remove you from a status as well. So it's an action word. Let's, All right, so let's go to some res judicata or some case law here. When a citizen is attempting to enforce the Constitution, as herein shown, he is doing it not for himself alone, but also for others as a private attorney general, vindicating a policy that is considered of the highest priority. That's Newman versus Piggy Park Enterprises. Also, Otis v. Crown, Zellerback Incorporated, and also in Jenkins versus United States Gas Company. These elements were talked about. Every state, whether it's Rhode Island, California, Texas, they have what you call a constitution for that state. In these state constitutions, they have ethical conduct, ethical commission, code of ethics in every state. So when you look up these things, just read it. Read it like it's a book one day. When you're just chilling at the house, just look over these things. You'll be surprised what's in there. All right, but the scope of what I'm talking about is the fact that there's case law saying, for example, we're saying we have the right to a Republican form of government, and we're attempting to enforce the Constitution, which is not just enforcing the Constitution. We're opening up international laws when we do that. We're not doing it for ourselves alone. We're doing it for essentially the people. And typically people that are doing that are trustees that were elected to do such a thing. So it all coincides. Any comments, questions, statements on that? Or I'll continue here. Our men and women take on the moral torch and take the great missionary work as initiated by Noble Drew Ali. That missionary work, in fact, includes our people owning their own business in Elodium. The results of this can only be reached with the acquisition of knowledge and its application. That means applying it. So that means not only, let's rewind here before we continue. Of Noble Drew Ali saying we need to own our business in the Elodium or have a Lodio title. There's steps that need to be taken to arrive to these means. All right. For one, own a business. First get to the level of where it's a Moorish business or where multiple Moors came together and erected a business. That's the first step. And the step before that is knowing your nationality, right? And then building a rapport with these Moors, of course. And then you move forward. And then what happens is that attracts more Moors that have been looking from afar about where are these Moors at? Where I learned about my nationality. It could have happened an hour ago. This person could have learned about the Moors an hour ago. Taj, Asir, so from somewhere. So, people putting out info. And they're like, oh man, it's a Moor down the street that got all these businesses. That's how I work. We just got to demonstrate because people waking up every day. So that's kind of how the law of correspondence works. You stay active. As the years go, then you're going to start coming to fruition. How it's supposed to. Right? The consistency. No matter how it looks, it's always looking up. Stay consistent. You'll gravitate who you're supposed to gravitate, right? The law of correspondence will just take a course. Okay, so it takes civilized men to teach the uncivilized. Now, this was a quote in the Holy Book, Circle 7, Chapter 2, verse 7 through 18, and Chapter 4, verse 14 through 17. You're dealing with principles of it takes civilized men to teach the uncivilized. Everybody's not This is not for everybody. I'm not saying you're uncivilized because this is not your sole motivation to wake people up. That's not. But to do that, it does take a different ether that you're vibrating differently than the people that you're trying to wake up, and you have to be inspired to do such a thing, right? Which inspiring you to do that?
Islam, brother, please say that again. Please say that again.
What's inspiring you to, right? It's wake the people up.
You're vibrating at a different what? A
Frequency,
different level and
different level.
frequency.
Mhm.
Islam.
Yep. Larry Bay, peace and love. Any thoughts on this before we continue? Comments, statements? So the
Peace and
codified
love, everybody. Peace and love. Sorry about that. Peace and love.
peace and love. Peace and love. No thoughts, comments in the chat?
I have 3 books that I would help you break down if you want to help you break down some of the law, what you're talking about. And they it's really small pamphlets, but they, just as you was demonstrating, they really break it down, and it can help you understand anything that you in that direction you might want to do. They're very cheap, and they're just small pamphlets, but they're very powerful. Good information. Islam.
Islam. That's the handbook, the constitutional handbooks, right? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of case law, a lot of fundamental principles and things like that.
We the
Glove
people.
compartment. We the people. I call it glove compartment info. You just grab it out the car, check on a little case law that pertain to whatever. Yeah, real smooth. The codified rules, i.e., adjective law, administrative law, and constitutional law, i.e., law that is written, is placed as a guideline for those whom may be uncivilized to serve as their decisive. In that event, it is the hopes of those wise women and men of government whom place these laws of divine original on tablet, stone walls, and paper of time, that those uncivilized men, seekers of truth, journeymen, and initiates will in fact see the words, works, and deeds of the civilized and change their perspective, way of life, and psychological path of inferiority as it relates to unlimited possibilities of the human race, shedding their carnal customs of lewdness, theft, and ill will towards men, placing the human race on a higher pinnacle of life, bringing the entirety of humanity closer to the throne of the Almighty God of the universe, Allah. And let's go back to we started off with the Silent Brotherhood, right? The seven sages and the Council of the Seven. We're in a new age of time. Men are trending towards the light. We're in the Aquarian age, right? So all these things is imperative with this demonstration. It's all well woven together. The very meetings of the minds of those women and men, merchants, can be considered in law as a drill society. So now we're looking at things in a scientific way. We read in the beginning how, through time immemorial, people started out as houses and clans, and they were merchants. These merchants came together with other clans and family members and formed government structure because their businesses were being attacked by people, thieves, people in their lower self. So merchants, houses, and clans formed confederations for the protection, or they formed government for the protection of the people. Elections were made. Military was put together, or muftis, or whatever you want to call it. And it was an agreement. So now we're adding drill society to that. So not only are these merchants, but now it's a drill society in law. It becomes a drill society if you know the international laws that protect this organization that's been created. That's the second thing. Now we have people that are elected, or just the people in the society that know law. Hermetic, trust law, international law, rights of indigenous people, constitutional law, which determines the political status of that society. The foregoing definitions are listed with the scopes of eliminating confusion, solidifying comprehension. So let's look at now. These definitions, by the way, are from the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Government, from the Latin gubernaculum. When you look up that, it's a ship. I know it's a crazy sounding word that y'all might have never heard of. It signifies the instrument, the helm, hereby the ship to which the state was compared was guided on its course by the gubernator or the helmsman. That's the steerer of a ship. If you don't believe me, look it up. And in that view, the government is but an agency of the state. So the government is just an agency of the people. The people formed organization, elected rulers, not tyrants. They elected rulers. What's a ruler? A measuring stick. A ruler is a measuring stick of the people in that jurisdiction, distinguished as it may be in accurate thought from its scheme and machinery of government. That's State versus Chasey. So the beauty of these law definitions, and there's case law associated with these definitions. Pretty much 90% of the definitions in the law dictionary will have case law embedded in the definition. So not only is it the definition, but it's been ruled upon that this is what a government is. So back to Article 4, Section 4 in the Constitution, it doesn't say it's a Republican form of government just to say it. These are ancient principles. You know, people have the right to come together, especially if they share the same descent and way of life, habits and customs, can form government to protect that way of life. When you're doing that, you just invoke trust law. When you're doing that, you just invoked inheritance laws. You just invoked universal principles. And not just because it's the sheer fact that you did it, it's the fact that you can see it. You see fruit from it. Every year that passed, you see what's going on because of that. Okay. The system of polity and a state, that form of fundamental rules and principles by which a nation or state is governed, or by which individual members of a body politic are to regulate their social actions, a constitution, either written or unwritten. That's why you got written contract or implied contract. So that's the thing. When people actions are doing something for month after month after month after month after month after month after year, you don't need a contract. The people clearly have allegiance. You can see their demonstration, their allegiance to the situation. You see who has allegiance to the situation. Then you don't got to talk about it. You see who putting right. By which the rights and duties of citizens and public officers are prescribed and defined as a monarchical government, republican government, etc., an empire, kingdom, state, or independent political community, as in the phrase compacts between independent governments. So that's all in the definition of government. We, the people. Now here's a government de jure before we continue here. A government of rights, the true and lawful government, a government established according to the Constitution of the state and lawfully entitled to recognition and supremacy and the administration of the state, by which is actually cut off from power or control. The government deemed lawful or deemed rightful or just, which nevertheless has been supplanted or displaced. That is to say, which receives not presently, although it received formerly, habitual obedience from the bulk of the community. All right, so whatever the people agree to do, then it's elected and it's carried out. All right, so Article 4, we the people. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution clearly displays who the current administration of government here in North America is not de jure, but de facto. And as we know, I ain't gonna say everybody know, but you start looking up the Act of Congress. 1861, there was a coup, and everybody looked like they had a part, but internally they became a corporation. This was the start of that. All right, so let's read de facto. We just read government de jure. Let's read government de facto. A government of fact. A government actually exercising power and control of the state, as opposed to the true and lawful government. So as opposed means it's opposite. So it's not the true and lawful government. A government not established according to the constitution of the state, or not lawfully entitled to recognition or supremacy, but which has nevertheless supplanted or displaced the government de jure. So the de facto displaced through a coup. A government deemed unlawful or deemed wrongful or unjust, which nevertheless receives presently habitual obedience from the bulk of the community. So now we got the tyrant. We got dumb the people down so we can get away with this type of space. Islam. Anybody got any thoughts, comments, anything they want to add to this?
Perfect.
Okay. So, jurisprudence. The philosophy of law, or the science which treats of the principles of positive law and legal relations. The term is wrongly applied to actual systems of law or to current views of law or to suggestions for its amendment, but it is the name of a science. This science is a formal or analytical rather than a material one. It is the science of actual or positive law. It is wrongly divided into general and particular, or into philosophical and historical. It may therefore be defined as the formal science of positive law. In the proper sense of the word, jurisprudence is the science of law, namely that science which has for its function ascertain the principles on which legal rules are based, so as not only to classify those rules in their proper order and show the relation in which they stand to one another, but also to settle the manner in which new or doubtful cases should be brought under the appropriate rules. Jurisprudence is more a formal than material science. It has no direct concern with questions of moral or political policy, for they fall under the province of ethics and legislation. But when a new or doubtful case arises to which two different rules seem, when taken literally, to be equally applicable, it may be and often is the function of jurisprudence to consider the ultimate effect which would be produced if each rule were applied to an indefinite number of similar cases, and to choose that rule which, when so applied, will produce the greatest advantage to the community. So we're talking about not only, well, it is, yeah, it's a science. It's a science of what is proper, what is just. It spells out positive law, like we just read. That's why we read in a sequence to get to this.
Islam. Law governs all things, as you see right there.
Exactly. Islam.
Law, land, air, and water. It governs all things right there. You can't get without it. So anytime you're calling yourself anything that's not in your nature as a natural thing, you are out of law. You're an outlaw.
Outlaw.
Put it straight. You're an outlaw. Calling yourself anything that's not you, you're an outlaw. Out of law.
And not only calling yourself something out of law, but the actions that you do based on that. So somebody, I think it was somebody said this, that people that call themselves black or African American, their actions of what they call culture. So it might be the fried chicken, it might be the picnic, it might be the right. They think that's culture. That's soul food. That's culture to people that call themselves black, right?
Islam, Grand Sheik, isn't that term picnic come from the term pick a nigga? Ain't that where that come from?
Yeah, Islam. But but our people um will be like, that's our culture. Oh, what's your culture? Oh, fried chicken. Um, we link up on the family reunion. After church we doing XYZ, you know. But when I was speaking with her about this, I was like, oh, that's not culture. Technically, that's a subculture. Because especially people that come from the East or the South, North, wherever, they come to North America and see this subculture of people that are classified as Black, Negro, color. They're looking at it and they're like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, they got swag, but we don't want our daughters and people dating them.
It's a cult.
Yeah, it's cool. Like
It's
the
a
music
cult.
is cool. They very
Yeah.
entertaining. They entertaining. We watch them go play the sports and all
Yeah.
that. They good musically inclined and all that, but be aware. Don't mingle in these
Yes.
neighborhoods.
It's
You
a
know.
cult.
So that's a subculture. That's
Yeah.
not the culture of
Yeah.
Black people is not international. It's not something that is worldwide. It's scary to some people. People that got culture, they look at that with caution. Deal with them accordingly.
Islam. Brother, I live, like as I told you, over 40 years in Europe. I speak fluent German, Greek. Nobody in Europe call themselves a color crayon. Everybody use their nationality. Only in America, I come back here and I'm like, they got deeper. When I left in the 70s, we was fighting somebody calling you black or Negro. Man, we was fighting. Come back, these clowns, everybody wants to be that. And will fight you. Will fight you if you tell them that they're not. It's crazy.
Islam, elder. So how did y'all address yourselves when you were in Germany? Like you said, no copper tone people identified as black or whatever. So what did y'all call yourself Moors or whatever? Like,
You
you know what
was
I'm saying?
German because in Germany, these black guys are Germans. They are the real Germans. And in Italy, they are Italians. And in Greek, the black guys are Greeks.
Yeah.
They are what they are. And that's what they call themselves. I'm Greek. Nobody said I'm this, I'm color, I'm black, I'm brown. They use their nationalities. And that's how they got respect because
When
everybody used their nationalities.
yeah, when I was in when I visited Spain, they referred to me as Moreno. They didn't call me black. They didn't call me Negro. They called me Moreno when I was in Spain.
Islam, that's only here. That's how deep the brainwash is. It's only in the Americas.
Yeah, I've been out trying to share culture with our people, trying to be influential. And like you said, I get so much backlash. I get all kind of things thrown back at me. Like, nah, we black. It's like, nah, man, that's not what you are, bro. It's not what you are. But I'm to the point. It's like to each his own, man. Only can save those who
Exactly.
want to be saved.
The
Oh,
matrix is real, brother. The matrix is
hey,
real when
oh,
people doing the same thing.
well, people are about to find out in real time because pretty soon right now what's being settled on the Senate floor is this whole birthright citizenship thing, and many of our people are going to be placed in peril, into a perilous position because of no nationality, no identity, nothing, and they're going to be placed in a perilous position, and it's coming up soon. Actually, it's coming up very soon.
Deep.
Yeah, I just want to throw that in.
Islam, brother.
Islam. Any other thoughts on this space? Okay, so we have what you call a drural society. So let's get into drural. All right. So pertaining to natural or positive right, or to the doctrines of rights and obligations as juror relations, of or pertaining to jurisprudence, recognized or sanctioned as positive law, embraced within or covered by the rules and enactments of positive law, founded in law, organized upon the basis of fundamental law, and existing for the recognition and protection of rights. The jural sphere is to be distinguished from the moral sphere, the latter denoting the whole scope of range of ethics or the science of conduct, the former embracing only such portions of the same as have been made the subject of legal sanction or recognition. The term jural society is used as a synonym of state or organized political community. All right, so when we're saying a jural society, we're saying an organized political community. We're saying a nation state. All right, so the state of mind of the people who are organized. If the state of mind is Moorish or any nationality for that matter, it becomes a nation state, organized political community. Now, each member or each citizen, because member and citizen, when you look up government in the Black's Law Dictionary, fourth edition, first edition, second edition, third edition. When you look up government, you're going to see citizen and member are synonymous. That's the same thing. Oh, I'm a member of a temple. You're a citizen. That's why Noble Joe Ali said, Act 1 through 7, all citizens, all members. It's the same thing, right? All right. So let's look up. We're still looking at definitions in the Black's Law Dictionary. Let's look at society. An association or company of persons, generally unincorporated, united together by mutual consent in order to deliberate, determine, and act jointly for some common purpose. In a wider sense, the community or public, the people in general, Gilmore versus Stone. So when we're talking about a society, you see this, it's similar to drill society, state. You see how everything interwoven? Citizen, member. Well, what's the common goal? Mutual consent to elect. So that means a voting process. People as a whole agree to, oh, this person should do this for the community. Oh, this person should be this. And all these positions and the general members are ambassadors of the society, government, temple, state. A citizen is an ambassador of a nation state. You're a representative of an organization that share the national, same national origin, same way of life, habits and customs, same missions on what we want to do. We're going to do this so we can do this in the future. Whatever that may be, everybody's on the same page. All right. Any thoughts, comments, statements on that before we continue?
Sheik, I do have a comment.
That's
This
live,
is
right?
kind of backtracking a little bit, but I just wanted to understand what took place during that period, because the brother talked about how our people, they were fighting against the labels of like black and Negro. What took place for that type of cultural degeneration that we have, that we're kind of dealing with today? And yeah, just some thoughts on that. What happened?
Oh, the great book burnings, Reconstruction, Christian Black codes, Jim Crow, Spanish Inquisition. So pretty much our people were given abbreviated information after a while, and we lost connection with our culture at large and the principles of that culture. So therefore, we have no structure, no government structure. We got hatred versus each other. We got animosity. We're gonna find any reason not to organize any small thing. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm doing this over here. You know,
Islam.
and they might be part of something, and then when the next day they're part of something else, and we're not. You know, but like I say, it's those things that I mentioned earlier. Look up all these things, Christian black codes. Look at the article, just like the Constitution. Christian Article 1, article. Same thing with Jim Crow. It's procedures.
To,
Look up.
to help you, brother. To help you, brother. This is one that will help him a lot. So he can have something in his hand that he can go back to and he can look at. This is so deep. This is very, very deep. And it explains everything, what happened to us. And when you finish that one, it's deep. There's the guide. I'm a book man. I want you to have something in your hand that you can go back to and reference it.
I appreciate it,
This
brother.
is deeper than astronomy. Breaks it even more down.
Can I see the first book as well, so I could get that written down?
Astronomy.
I still can't see it, sir. Excuse me. See. What does it say? I'm sorry, I can't see the title.
This is the Great Masonic Secrets, the Master Keys. It's perfectly illustrated. You can get it at Califia Media.
Okay, cool. And the second one, brother?
It's called The Torch.
Yeah, those are excellent reads. Excellent.
Oh,
reads.
yes. Fantastic. Will open you up very much. Highly recommend it. Islam.
Perfection. Thank you so much.
And peace and love to Elijah Juan Harris. You're gonna have to refresh me on how we met, or you got a different Instagram handle or something. But nevertheless, peace and love. Brother DL, peace and love.
Peace and love, Islam.
Okay, so somebody needs to mute. Okay. Brother Elijah Juan Harris, peace and love. I want to make sure I know who you are. I'm not sure how we met, etc.
Peace, God. This AJ. I just got a different handle right now. This AJ. Peace and love, God.
Oh, peace and love. Islam.
Islam.
Okay. So we're still all these definitions, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. So now we transition into state. A people permanently occupying a fixed territory bound together by common law, habits, and custom into one body politic, exercising through a medium of an organized government, independent sovereignty and control over all persons and things within this boundary, capable of making war and peace, and entering into international relations with other communities of the globe. Case law to support the organization of a social life, which exercises sovereign power on behalf of the people. Case law to support that. The people of a state in their collective capacity considered as the party wronged by a criminal deed. All right, so that's why, temples, or they call them consulates, embassies, etc. The people love. The people of Cambodia, the people of Venezuela, the people of China. That's a republic. So you see the difference between Bill Jefferson versus the state of California versus, even though we know the state of California. Okay, I brought it up for a reason. I'm glad I brought that up. Let's look at that. So look at the fraudulent. Now that we learn what a state is, society, drill society, a republic form of government. If I say, oh, the state of California, any red flags coming up for y'all? Or does that sound proper?
It don't sound proper. Why is everyone else a country, but we are a state to begin with?
All right, it's a Cali exclusive. He said, right? That's the thank you. Okay, so if a state is a group of people that got nationality organized to form a state, what is California? What's California's nationality? What is California? So that's improper. Improper vernacular, right? That's improper sentence structure.
Slum.
That makes sense to everybody? Anybody confused about that? Everybody's smarter in the chat. We got some smart people. But the prophet say genius citizens. All right. Political. Pertaining or relating to the policy or the administrating the government, state or national. People versus Morgan. Pertaining to or incidental to the exercise of the functions vested in those charged with the conduct of government, relating to the management of affairs of the state as political theories or pertaining to exercise of rights and privileges, or the influence by which individuals of a state seek to determine or control its public policy, having to do with organization or action of individuals, parties, or interests that seek to control appointment or action of those who manage affairs of a state. In State ex rel Maley versus Civil Action Company. And a couple of things that's, in this case law, you notice how it says state ex rel Maley. So a lot of people learn about this ex rel thing when they come into the Moorish paradigm. Oh, the straw man. This is my national name. I'm an ex rel the straw. I have information pertaining to it, but I'm not the straw, right? So as you can see, ex rel is ancient. It's nothing new. It's not because the Moors are saying this. All right. So back to the state of California. That's an ex rel. Who is behind the formation of this municipal corporation? They got board members. Who are they? And what is their nationality? Right? And then when you're dealing with corporation, only corporations can deal with corporations. So in order to deal with a corporation, you need to set one up to deal with it. Human beings can't deal with corporations like that.
You can't own people.
Yeah, humans deal with humans. Corporations deal with corporations. Right?
Just look up the word president of a company.
Of a company. So people with nationality formed consulates, embassies, body politics, temples, to function with foreigners. We have a transmitting utility to handle the affairs on behalf of the people. Right? So Noble Drew Ali, when he came, that's what made what he did so powerful, because he set up the Moorish Science Temple of America as an arm to deal with the United States of America and still maintain sovereignty internally. So back to that.
All in law. All in law too. All in law. Everything. You can't be touched.
Right.
We just got to know what we got. We got to know what we got.
And when you're looking at it like this, he's the only one that, as far as our leaders in the past, remember, this is still 1900. There's nothing BC time. He's the only one on record in modern time to give us that demonstration. Everybody else, it was pseudo, as you can see. It was a de facto demonstration, right? No matter how, that's the bottom line. Your divine power The kingdom of heaven is in you. The human mind is the instrument given to man for him to employ creativity to his domain. He cannot originate anything because Elohim made everything he uses on all planes of life. All has been provided to him: protoplasm, beast, angel, earth, etc. The mind is the tool of creative thought for man to use. And although man generally lives in the world which his mind has created, the mind is not the man, nor is man the mind. Basically, the mind is an instrument used by gods while in the state of a fallen humanity. With his actions to think, understand, reason, and to will, the creative possibilities of the mind are only bound by the limitations of the world. So you can only limit yourself, in which it has created. Any man or nation of people that does not understand their creative choices lie within the freedom of their own, or God's man or nature, cannot claim independence, autonomy, or sovereignty beknownst to them. Those lost souls live in the circumference of their minds. Unfortunately, the minds of the so-called Negro are not their own. So let's marinate on this. But before we do that, let me read one more sentence. He who defines or dictates and controls the diameter of your knowledge also determines the circumference of your thoughts and your existence. So let's ponder on this. Hold on one second. Let me see if we got new people in the chat I need to greet. Let me see. I think that's okay. Now we got people that just tapping back in. Okay. So whoever controls your thoughts controls how you see things, how you conduct yourself, how you do whatever. Your options, whatever options you think you got, they're very limited if you don't know knowledge. The more you know, the more you see there's opportunities. But even language. Imagine everybody in this chat spoke 4 languages. Instantly, we got more opportunities. Right? So it's the same thing about not knowledge of anything for that matter. You can know one language and still be powerful, but we're just letting you know it's all on you. It's all on you. What you're inspired to do.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. So the knowledge of uniting, the knowledge of nationality, the knowledge of your culture, the knowledge of what our ancestors did, just knowledge of that inspires you to do things currently, make you do things differently currently. Inspires you differently, right?
You
All right.
think different. Everything you see things in a different way because you understand a little bit more what's really going on.
Exactly. And then once we in a different realm, that's where the whole, you're your brother's keeper. Because everybody's not going to ascend at the same clip. So you feel obligated to put your people on, not to your detriment, because you're not going to cast, pearl amongst swine, but you at least going to let them know what it is until they just push you away. Then, all right, I'm on to the next. I'm not going to waste my time, right? But we got subtle obligations. Initially, all right. The main. Let me check the chat here first. Okay, who we got?
I have to come truth. Your calmness actually cooled me down a lot because I go hard. I go hard because I do. I go hard. I admit it too. And when I first met you and was watching you, and you come with a much cooler, calmer. So you actually, I admit it, you actually cooled me down.
Islam.
You made me more, I was really, especially on the black man. I'm deep on that, brother. I don't play that, man. And you really
Islam,
calmed me down.
Islam.
I much appreciate you.
Islam.
I second that, Islam, because I'm very aggressive nature and very you know, and I've learned to be more smooth with it, more cool,
Islam.
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 think I want to third that as well because I was pretty rowdy as well, and you definitely your influence definitely helped calm my nature. Really helped me
Amazing.
bring me more into alignment of who I am. So thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Islam. I appreciate that.
Islam.
Well, that-
Islam. Each one teach one. We all can reach something. Peace and love. Yes,
Islam.
sir.
Islam.
Also, Islam, that aggressiveness that you have to teach your people can also be just your tough love for your people, and it's not necessarily that you have a ill intent when you come in that way. It just that's the passion that you show for the love for your people, and sometimes it could be registered as aggressive or too aggressive, but I look at it
Islam. I
as a
love you,
passion.
brother. I love you, Islam. That was beautiful.
It was, man. Peace on that, for real. Islam.
Wow. Islam. Mhm. Um, I'm glad. I appreciate all that because that's motivation to keep consistent, and that's a testament how like back to the whole clans and organizations anciently, everybody got a good skill set. Everybody has something that they were endowed with, different things they were called to do while they having this physical experience, and we can learn from each other. That's the whole point. We constantly learn from each other. Everybody got something to for the table, and that's how we can grow and create these incubators of good quality people, man. Um, all right, so the main objective was and is to stop the African from thinking. This, if we Europeans can stop them from thinking, they will destroy themselves. All right, so that was a quote from Noble Ali, relative of what we're speaking on. Study, 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 right? When we think looking at these statements, because when you study, 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 you're living in a different reality than somebody that doesn't study, study, study. You know that much more,
Islam.
right? So, all right, trust law. Believe it or not, just because we're just saying trust law right now, we've been talking about it the last 40 minutes. But we'll get more to, I guess, irrevocable or revocable, whatever, you know. So a trust is established agreement that includes specific obligations to be performed by a trustee who is lawfully vested with certain rights and charged with the performance under oath or affirmation to manage the affairs and properties of another, which are established in the creation of the trust for the benefit of one or more beneficiaries. So we're talking about a state, jural society, body politic, trust law. We're getting into like a family trust versus community trust, but they're still the same. A trust must consist of at minimum two parties, two separate parties, the trustee and the beneficiary. The trust normally consists of three parties: the grantor, the creator of the trust, the creditor or the trustor or settler, the trustee, the administrator of the trust or debtor, and the beneficiary, the heir, the person to whom the trust was created for benefit of. The grantor of the trust may also be the beneficiary, but the beneficiary cannot also be the administrator of the trust. In the laws that govern delegation of authority, a trustee cannot exceed the rights or have a higher authority over the owner or the grantor or the creator or the executor of the trust. The trustee must stay within the original rights expressed in the delegation of authority or the trust indenture or the bylaws, which clearly describe which powers can be exercised by the trustee. The trustee can only operate within the limitations of his or her power. If a trustee breaches the limits of their powers, they can be charged with fraud. All right, so see how this is tied in with on a community level, we got a state, jural society, but you can also have a family trust. Now, these families that have these trusts can link up. It could be like five families that got trusts, and then they form a jural society. right? So, and then it's a kingdom, and then it's an empire, or confederations, conglomerates,
Lawfully.
lawfully, right? And things can still be passed down. We're dealing with competent people. Competent people are organizing now
Yes, Islam.
with nationalities. All right, so let's see here. A simple trust breakdown. So, executor or grantor could be your grandparents. Administrator could be your parent, and then you, the beneficiary. It could be looked at in governmental structure. We, the people, grantor, administrator, or the elected officials. Who's a beneficiary? We, the people. All right. Now, a lot of people come into the trust space. They've, the people that's trying to slow us down, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, they'll know we're getting wind of something, and then they'll put this information out in a way that cause our people to be thinking it's extra hard, and they spinning their wheels, and now we selling packages on, all this type of stuff. But this is more universal, practical. This is very simple. You don't need to get nobody $8,000 to get a trust document created.
So, a question: do I have to have a nationality to make a trust?
You don't have to, but you should. You should.
So, if I'm going under Black and African American, and I'm going through these sites, and I'm trying to set up a trust through them, is that legal?
It's legal, but it's not lawful.
Okay, thank you.
It's not lawful because it's a jurisdiction issue. That's what it is.
That's
even
right.
Even your lingo, because I've read some trusts and they say, "Oh, this is in harmony with the laws of the state of California." You just made your trust domestic, what they call quote unquote domestic, versus what they call foreign or international. And what governs your trust? That's all on you. That's all on what you're putting in your trust indenture, your delegation of authority, your bylaws of your trust. It's the lingo.
Good.
All right.
Good. Our people understand that because there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah. Okay, so a trust is by definition a contract. So Article 4, Section 1 is the full faith and credit clause, or they call it the contract clause. So the United States cannot make a law that tries to usurp a contract. The contract is the number one supreme law. All the probate court going to do is reinforce what your trust say. If somebody takes it there, if somebody try to take you to court over something, all they're going to do is look at, oh, this is supposed to go here. All right. So a contract is a mutual agreement between at least two mental competent parties. So once again, so a minor, of which a minor cannot be in agreement to. So let's marinate or wrap our head around this. In contract law 101, for a contract to be valid, it needs to be both parties need to be competent. All parties need to be competent. Another element of contract law is a minor cannot be a party to a contract. I'm not making this up. These are contract law for dummies. Contract law 101. These are basic elements of contract law. So back to the contract, because the brother asked or said something that caused me to say domestic versus foreign trust. That lingo in your trust, you're gonna have lingo that displays that you're competent or you're not. So you see I'm going with this? Okay.
Is it true in the contract that both people should get something out of that contract?
If the agreement is the agreement. So yeah, so party A gets into a contract with party B. Party B needs to do something that party B agreed on with party A, and it's done. Um,
That's deep right there.
yeah,
That's deep. So your contract with DMV and all that, that's right there. What are they doing for you?
right, exactly. They're not doing nothing. And you did it as a minor, so it can dissolve. It's not a
You did
proper
it being
entry.
forced, because if you don't do it, you're gonna go to jail. If you don't have a license, you don't have an insurance.
Yeah,
It's forced contract,
fourth contract. Yeah,
Islam.
yeah. That's another. Is right. So we're colonized. Um, Islam.
Mafia, I got a question. So I heard you use the term minor. So that means for everybody that claims to be black or whatever, that is being claiming that you're a minor. So therefore, a minority. So therefore, your contract is like null and void because you signed like that anyway. Correct?
Right. Once you wake up, you can dissolve these things, especially if we're part of a state jural society. Because you're saying I'm a citizen of this. I'm part of this. We
It's
have
deep, brother. This is
yeah.
deep. This is deep.
Hey,
Mhm.
hey, Mafia, I got a trust 101 question.
Okay.
Can another trust be a can it participate as a beneficiary to another trust? Because I'm actually about to set up another trust, but I want to make my other trust a beneficiary to that trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Because in law, a trust is a person.
Yeah. It's a person, but it's a artificial person. It's not,
Yeah.
but the natural person creates the artificial person. So
Right. Right.
the artificial person can't talk.
Yeah.
So the human beings will have to agree that whatever you just said, it
Yeah.
has to be in agreement with human beings that created these. Then yeah, then what you said can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm the settler in both trusts. I'm the settler and a trustee. But yeah, I can speak for the trust because I'm the manager slash trustee. So I can definitely speak for them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. As long as it's an agreement from both of the people that are creating these instruments, then yeah, you just laying that foundation. For example, um, I might say any future businesses get passed down to a trust that I created for my son or whatever.
Right.
As long as my son's competent to run it, because there's elements. You're not just saying, "Oh, go to this trust." You're going to be obviously more specific. So
Right.
the specificness causes people to act or to keep things going. So as long as these elements are happening, then yeah. But once somebody bump their head and don't agree with the program, now you got
Done.
it's dissolved.
Yes, it's done. Yeah, contract is done.
It's
Yeah.
done.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why. Yeah. That's why I'm real reluctant as far as beneficiaries and co-trustees and all that involved with the trust. That I've been creating because that very same um scenario that you just played out, people that are undisciplined, they get into a trust and then all of a sudden they go rogue and want things, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, and now they're operating outside of the trust instrument,
Yep.
and that puts the trust in danger, you know.
Right, really, that's when you pull that contract out, see? Because when your
Yeah.
contract, everything has to be written, and that's why both sides sign that. And you saying that you agree to do this, and I agree to do that. So anybody who's going any opposite of what they agreed to be is
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I'm speaking in terms of, let's say, someone in your trust that's involved in your trust that's undisciplined, no structure. You're introducing them to trust life, and they don't know how to, they still thinking as an individual. They still thinking as a U.S. citizen, an individual, self ownership. Everything has to be in my name. and their name is in the trust, but yet they're operating outside of the trust. That puts
I wouldn't be doing anything until people
yeah,
really understand that the direction they're going in is the right direction, because you're
right,
putting yourself in a predicament where you can also get commingled into some corruption.
right. That's
So
why
words have
that
power.
yeah, yeah. That's why bringing anyone into a trust, you have to really explain to them how this is going to change their life. But
Hmm.
there's a way that they're going to have to live their life out
Yeah,
according to the trust instrument,
yeah.
you know. But I yield. I was just curious to know if you can add a trust into another trust as a beneficiary.
So,
Islam. Brandon, watch your back.
it's Islam. It's very important that we live by principles, and we have to make sure that by when we are showing the examples of living by principles, and we're basically influencing and rubbing off on people with that, those are the people who are going to gravitate. So right now, like what they call the what they call the laws of attraction, you're literally attracting what's in you. So if you're always attracting Islam, if you're always attracting these characters that are not honorable, not saying that you're not honorable, your approach may be that you're not rubbing off on it in that vibration on them. You have to rub off that vibration on people, and they're going to gravitate towards you. Those individuals who are trustworthy, who are going to operate within the structure of the trust, they're going to gravitate towards you. Islam.
Well,
Islam.
Islam, yeah, these people are actually family members, you know. Um, but yeah, as far as influence and trying to have the influence rub off on them, I do things just just out of just thinking out of the box. Like I'll just leave books laying around in their presence. Something should spark in their mind when they continually see, let's say, the Exhuming of a Nation by Noble Drew Ali. Something
Mhm.
should spark in their mind eventually to just read one page, just one paragraph, and see where it leads them to. you
Yeah,
know. But that's what I
I
try to
got
do.
you. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I
But
yield.
don't waste your time on it, brother.
Oh no, not at
No,
all, not at all.
You can't lead all the horses to the water. I've learned that. Learned it. You can't lead them all to the water. And hey, man, keep yourself safe and do you, and stay. And they watching you. And as
right.
long as
That's
Yeah.
Islam.
you being you,
Right.
and keeping
Islam.
your head up, they got no choice but to watch you. And they see you. You don't know it, but everybody's watching you
And
because
Islam,
you are
that's
Yeah.
noble. You are noble, and you're showing it through your actions.
right,
Islam.
right. And standing on business with that. Like
Islam.
they can't see you compromising that position. And because they're gonna just use that as an excuse to go back to doing regular scheduled program.
Yep. Yep. Islam. Okay. So a contract cannot be vague. It cannot fail to disclose information. It must be equitable. Equity means fair, by the way, in contract law. We know equity in a house, but they try to make it, all that type of stuff. But equity in reality means just fairness. It cannot require anyone to perform any illegal acts. It must contain an offer or provision of service to include payment, etc., as well as mutual agreement and signatures of all parties involved. The party offering the contract or service and the party receiving the service and or making payment as an example. Contracts cannot be entered into by force. This is where a third party who is not in direct agreement but signs as witness to attest to the mutual agreement of the parties is involved. And a contract cannot be induced to fraud. So it's imperative that everybody in this chat, uh, contract for dummies is a good one. Contract law for dummies, contract law 101, just for the basics. You can simply just Google what are the bullet points of contract law? What are the basics? What we're talking about. Minor can't enter into a contract. Everybody needs to be, all parties need to be competent. Nobody can be taken advantage of. There can be a signature from somebody that's not even involved. They're not party A, party B, party C,
That's
but
right.
like who is this? And they're enforcing it too. And you no longer like. So we get our
So
people.
what is car insurance, brother?
Yeah,
That's a third party.
third party.
That's a third party. It's a fraud.
So in our fractured state, we were colonized, and so we're forced to move certain ways. So we gotta be strategic when we coming up out of this. But just know, if all our people, like I always say, if all of Compton, that's all it takes, just all of Compton and Watts, Long Beach, we just need like 300 people, 200 people. We don't even need thousands. We're on the same page. Now we can enforce the law to the teeth of what we know. Right now, some of these laws we can't enforce, and we could try to, but you know, good luck. Like I say, I've been to court and got some cases dismissed and all that. You can do certain things, but that's not really nothing in the grand scheme of things as far as rights of indigenous people treaties. To enforce that type of law, you need a collective to be on because you need drill societies.
Islam.
Yeah.
And Islam, I want to say something about that. I know I was supposed to bring Shem Malachi's proposal to bring political unity among on a national level, and I couldn't find it until earlier today, and I didn't want to send you at the spur of the moment, but I'm gonna send it to you next week so I can get permission to read it to the study group, because that's key. What you just said is like, United States of America is nothing more than the continuation of colonization from the Europeans. It's a continuation of colonization of our land. So we are currently in a state of subjugation. In that current state, we can hardly ever make moves in a way that's superior, in opposed to these inferior remedies that we engage in, like people misinterpreting Noble Drew Ali's um, ideas of enforcing the Constitution and thinking that the Constitution necessarily protects Moors, right? The Constitution is just a demonstration of them living by principles, and we enforce it on them. But our protection is actually the treaties, and we need to have, like you said, we need to have a body politics in order to effectuate those protections. So we need to congregate on not on a local level in political unity, but on a national level in political unity. We have to have some allegiance to Morocco and the the pre-existing power of Morocco. We have to have that allegiance to that, and then we create body politics that ascend to those treaty protections. I yield.
Islam. Islam.
That was really good, brother. That's it right there. We gotta have that consistency of the same. We teaching the same, and everybody's understanding. Well, I heard the same from him, and the same from him. This must be true. But when you hearing conflicting stuff,
yeah,
that's the thing. It's just confusing the people.
Yeah,
That's
and
why
the
the
only way,
consistency is so important.
exactly,
Islam.
consistency. Because what's going to happen is these people that have been singing this tone for 40, 50 years, it's going to come to a point where it's demonstration time. It's going to come to a point where we got land. It's going to come to a point where we got housing. It's going to come to a point where we're growing crops. It's going to come a point where you can actually drive through his Moorish district. When that happens, now it's like people that come into the movement fresh, like an hour ago. They read it. I learned about the Moors an hour ago. Oh, it's just now they're gonna all come to where the demonstration is at, because that's what's happening. It's a bunch of people talking, but it's no towns that they can go through, like Chinatown, Koreatown, Little Bangladesh, Little Lebanon. I don't know one Moorish town in North America at all.
Or space that you can you can build and put these talents to use. I think directly on a day-to-day, weekly basis, monthly basis, where there can be a space of collaboration consistently and effectively, pushing out media building products, selling products, and distro products. And then, like the media space, I think is the gap that needs to be closed, where it's like you said, it's a lot of people talking, and what's the gap from talking to actually building something that is tangible, that can be a space that we could work out of. Because the issue is too, is like what I've seen is just being out in just in the city doing media and stuff, is we don't have spaces to get people off the streets that effectively give them skills and also the information to apply these skills to directly build something. But like you were saying, the brother was saying before, it was leaving the books around and things like that. It's like some people may pick up on it, but at the same time, it's like, how do I use this information and use it to the benefit of the nation? And you have to have like a solid foundation on that too. And I think like it's a time in, it takes for somebody to actually, to acclimate to that information, then apply it, because it's just like he say, she saying things like that, and everybody wants to be the one that's dropping the information. And then once you realize and get that group that it's not about that, it's about producing the land, sharing the information, gaining skills. And if we can get the skills while we're doing programs with them, get the money and invest it into the spaces that's going to allow to build that freedom, straight up. And it's just like, because we need that space, and that's really come down to, is that space where we can congregate. And it's just like, is somebody's there 24/7 doing something, bringing some new research or a task that we can knock out when so-and-so pull up later, or it's more people there, and just knock it out and then just effectively moving. So yeah, I yield. But yeah, definitely, like, just what's been conversated about is, just all it is a matter of time, and I've been coming across people, and like what we talked about earlier, like Mafi being able to deliver in so many different ways. And I think like just being able to touch different bases but keeping calm at the same time is what really is like able to, build a team and build something that I think is going to put that time step down on this information. Like, and yeah, it's just a matter of time. That's it. It's just a matter of time. So, but yeah, it's there.
I have to say, brother, you brothers, you make me so happy. I'm 70, and I would never thought that I would see people with the knowledge coming as you brothers are coming. I'm so proud of you, brothers.
Wow.
Islam.
Islam. We
Islam.
appreciate you.
I see it.
We
I see
appreciate
it.
you.
I see it. You guys
standing on
are
the
in the right
shoulders of
direction,
giants.
and you guys are amazing. Keep it going, brothers. Islam.
Islam. I want to say some. I think we need to reevaluate our value system and what we see as priority, because we've basically amalgamated to the colonizers' way of looking at things. We've adopted their worldview wholeheartedly to the point where it's interfering with our worldview. And we need to get more familiar with who we are and our nature and our value systems, what's priority for us, instead of working and operating in orientated to the colonizer's priority value system, Islam.
Wow.
Islam. I just wanted to ask something to piggyback off the brother Cali. Me and Mafi got something going on, and it just kind of registered to me as far as just being in the cipher, as far as this being at the park. Park, they always call the park recreation, but when you break down the word, it's recreation. So building from the grassroots and just using that as a platform to come together and build, like the brother was saying, as far as like, having a task and everybody tapping in on the task, and, we can cipher it up. You see what I'm saying? And, I'm thinking about adding that aspect to, what me and Mafi was going to put together as far as at the park, and having a basketball league, and having, now I'm just like, we can just have just a direct thing, and not on the official flyer to have all the Moors come out, fezzed up and everything. So then when
energy and frequency.
Yeah, they ain't gonna know. They just gonna be like, damn, what's all these?
That's it. That's it.
and it just don't be
Positive,
there.
all
Yeah,
positive people.
and
Islam.
and then we all be building on the same, on the same, vibratory frequency, like, the OG talking about. So, Islam, and we gonna keep building in this cipher, and I feel like this would be a great cipher to, build that out in, because we all kind of local. The brothers that is local right here in LA. I'm talking about the Park Rancho Cienega. So anybody familiar with it, that's where we gonna be at. And it's good that they just made, the whole Lamert Park, the historical Black community and all that. So we can, use that as an aspect to bring people in. And like he's saying, when he pulled through, you got to be able to see how we live, like in real time. Yeah, pull your phones out. We got kids and they in fezzes, they playing basketball. They just like how you'll see a small hat or a Jew playing basketball with their little hat on. Like
Powerful, brother. That's powerful.
we
And it's
gotta
true.
yes, sir.
Images,
Yeah,
images and symbols, brother.
yes, sir. Islam, I yield. But peace and love.
Islam. Yeah,
Islam.
that's a demonstration. That'd be a real demonstration. Yes. If recreationally, that's a strong demonstration recreation.
Yeah. And speaking of that, pretty soon we're gonna be making fezzes as an industry too. So hopefully we can play a part in, making children fezzes and just making that a household thing. People see that, oh, that's the Moor, that's just the Moors. Oh, it's the Moors over there. They got this going on. They got the laundry mats, they got they got fruit, low income housing. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? So it's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
That's good. You need that because the person I've been waiting on it's been crazy, but it's supposed to be coming. So
Yeah.
do your thing, brother.
It's live. It's live.
Islam, love Morris, love Morris.
It's live. So I'm gonna read like one or two more pages, and we'll transition to the treasury, and then close out for this meeting. Contract, a promissory agreement between two or more persons that creates, modifies, or destroys a legal relation. An agreement upon sufficient consideration to do or not to do a particular thing. An agreement between two or more parties, preliminary step in making of which is offer by one and acceptance of another, in which minds of parties meet and concur in understanding of terms. Law definition of witness. In general, one who being present personally sees or perceives a thing, a beholder, a spectator, or eyewitness, one who testifies to what he has seen, heard, or otherwise observed. The reason a minor cannot enter into a contract is due to the status of the minor. A minor is an infant or any person as it relates to their competence in relation to the administration, management of the affairs, to include their estate, real property, real estate, hereditaments. Hereditaments is just inheritance based on your bloodline. So let's go to competent. Law definition of competent. Duly qualified, because that's what we're talking about in the contract, competent parties, right? So in law, what is considered competent? Duly qualified, answering all requirements, having sufficient ability or authority, possessing a requisite natural or legal qualifications, able, adequate, suitable, sufficient, capable, legally fit. A testator may be said to be competent if he has mental capacity to understand the nature of his act, to understand and recollect the nature and situation of his property, and his relation to persons having claims on his bounty and whose interests are affected by his will. So that, like we talked about earlier, can your beneficiaries keep the party going? Can the people that, your trustees you elected, can they keep the party going? As you can see, a minor is either a child or a person of mental incompetence. So, most of us in this chat know minority classification of our people and why they are classified as such. They can't handle their affairs. They don't know nothing about no trust. They're scared of trust. Half our people gonna run to a bar member to construct a trust for them. Pay 20 grand. They can just do it for themselves. Or come to temples and get it. I've done trust for different Moors that's part of this body and outside. The max I charge was like $20. And I walked them down to the city hall so they can get it recorded. So our people need to know these options are there. Our people are getting raped for lack of knowledge. Once again, we got to become our brother's teacher. Our brother's keeper, I'm sorry.
I need to learn that so I can help people. That's one of my things I'm going to put on my list with you, brother. I need to learn that also.
Islam. In divine law, trust law, and the laws that govern wills and heritability or inheritance, when any individual or group of individuals are not in the honor of their mothers and fathers, they then have no right to inheritance and thus are non-descendable. For example, if I, William P. Baker, grantor, and in my will, I leave all my assets, etc., to my son, Paul B. Baker, beneficiary. If my son Paul is mentally incompetent, unable to inherit, then those assets will be placed in a trust to be administered by his mother or another person designed to be as trustee until he either becomes of age or becomes mentally competent to manage the assets, which he can either remain as a beneficiary or assume the position as a trustee and administer for the trust for the benefit of his son or daughter or prosperity. If Paul does not recognize his bloodline connection to me, his father, and a trust is not established designating a trustee to administrate it, then the course of descent or bloodline is therefore interrupted, and all assets revert to the state, right? State of California, corporate state. What's it called? What's these courts called? Probate court. All right.
Probate courts.
Right. And now you got the principles of cheating because there's not a competent heir to, right? So it's abandoned. It's an abandoned estate, and these organized people is coming in and claiming it, right? Because the people bump their head, getting invoked, whereby the estate becomes abandoned for lack of an heir competent enough to inherit or make a claim thereto. By not recognizing his blood connection and his inheritance, Paul has abandoned his estate. But if Paul has a child and that child recognizes his connection to me, the grandfather, and can prove that connection as well as prove mental competence, then the inheritance must be returned to him, and that's called reversion. All these are law terms, reversion of estate. So that's the position that our people in are at large, and that's why Noble Drew Ali came to let our people know their illustrious culture to enact what? Reversion of estate. So he the only, Noble Drew Ali, the only one on record that's bringing us actual factual stuff in principle. Everybody else,
because he's a real prophet.
Real prophet. So now, just for reinforcement, we'll read like one more page and I'll get into the treasury and we'll close out. So escheat in feudal law, escheat is an obstruction of the course of descent. So your bloodline got interrupted. And consequent determination of the tenure for some unforeseen contingency, in which case the land naturally results back by a kind of reversion to the original grantor. So once again, somebody bumped their head, they get amnesia, they just outright just abandon the program on purpose, whatever the case may be.
Oh, you calling yourself black?
Calling yourself black. There is an estate that becomes vacant. All right, so
can't trace that bloodline. You can't trace a black bloodline.
Can't trace it. In American law, escheat signifies a reversion of property to the state in consequence of a want of an individual competent to inherit. Where they at? Where the competent heirs at? I don't see them. Or are we gonna go over and take this over? Let the banks run this mortgage program until the heirs wake up. They ain't woke right now, so we're gonna run this program. But when they wake up, we give it back. That's the game they playing. We try to told them. They just don't want to. The state is deemed to occupy the place and hold the rights of the feudal lord. Escheat at feudal law was the right of the lord of a fee to re-enter upon the same when it became vacant, by the extinction of the blood of the tenant. The word escheat in this country at present time merely indicates the preferable right of the state to escheat left vacant and without there being one in existence able to claim thereto. Escheating is what all mortgages are rooted in. Before we get into escheating, I need to mention that whenever anyone agrees to enter into a mortgage, the borrower always is listed as a tenant and never the owner. We'll stop right here. We can continue next week with this, but I do want to say that I have, and this is a fact, go to any city hall and I put a wager, anybody in here who want to do a wager, that when you go to the city hall and look up any mortgage, especially in California, it's going to say deed of trust. This is a trust instrument. The grantor, in parentheses next to the grantor, because now that we learned the three components of a trust, right? The grantor is the creator of the trust, the trustee is the administrator, and the beneficiary is the person, right? That's going to get passed down to. Now, in this deed of trust, it's going to have the grantor, but what's in parentheses? Borrower. The borrower. All right. So the borrower, the person that think they borrowing from the bank, is really the grantor. It says that on the document. It's just they tell. So that's why they say, "Oh, we tried to told them," because it say grantor next to their name, but they still wanted to keep giving me money, and I don't know what else to do. We just gonna take the money. I'll take the monthly payments. I'll be out with shit.
Yeah, when you know it, your payment, your signature paid for it.
Yeah. And then when you know contract law, you're gonna spot the fraud. So you got the beneficiary who think they're the borrower. You got the trustee is the person. So the trustee worked for the borrower. I mean, the trustee worked for the grantor. So they swap positions because the grantor don't know that the bank really worked for them. Is flipped. The beneficiary is typically a title company that's in cahoots with the bank, and that's a conflict of interest. So when you're looking at it from that, and trust me, once things get more settled, that's the next thing I'm going to get off into is helping people, with their mortgage, or people that's in pre-foreclosure. Yeah. But it's a lot of things going on in my life right now. But that's next because that just take time. But that is going to happen. But this is how we can start assisting our people. And when we're doing stuff like that, they're going to be more down and be part of the movement because we're assisting them.
Mm-hmm.
We're assisting them. All the more is assisting me, and you know what I'm saying? So that's coming. That's coming too.
Yeah. When they learn that your signature is your payment, it's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Any thought, comments, and questions before we transition to the Treasury report for this month? Okay.
Got a lot of power, but people just don't know it, man. They don't know it. People don't know how much power we got. They don't understand it, man. But once they click it, it's gonna be party over, bro.
Mm-hmm. Islam.
Islam, Mafi. Great cipher, as always. Peace and love to all the Moors in here. So, Islam.
Okay, so I'm gonna transition to the Treasury report. Let's see here. So we dealing with March. All right, so for this month, got a deposit from 9L for 80. A deposit from myself for $83. Brother Hassan deposited twice this cycle for a total of 100. Roland Bay sent 20 this month. 283. We have a grand total of $4,901. You want to talk about the auction space coming up?
Yes. Peace and love, everybody. Sorry, I was just moving around doing a bunch of stuff, but I'm back. So the auction, they officially put out the list of all the properties that are going to be auctioned off on the 13th, so just 2 days ago. I still have to go through and open it to check to see if that piece of land that we were gonna auction or going to bid on is still there. That's one. However, I did already send out some letters on, I think it was on Monday. I sent out some letters to that owner of the land. He had 3 different addresses, and I did a certified mail so I can like track it. So now the next thing is I want to see if it's on the bids or on the auction list still. If it is, then I'm gonna give him a call. Skip Trace, give him a call and kind of see what's going on there, or if he's just gonna let it go to the auction. The auction is $5,000 deposit, so we're at 4,900. So we're pretty much there to get in the door for LA County auction. And then after that, auction is gonna be on April 18th to I believe the 22nd. So it's like a 3 or 4 day auction. So we'll go ahead and enter in on the last day because that's where all the bidding wars go on. There's no need for us to really go in the beginning, unless we just want to check it out, see where it's at. Let's see what else. It requires to enter into the auction, it requires a registration and a wire deposit or wire transfer. So that would, I'm gonna go ahead and do that if we go the auction route, depending what the guy says. His name is Benzie Alex Matthew. That's his name, if you guys want to know, the owner of that property over in Pear Blossom. So, where was I at? Oh, the transfer. So that would have to be done probably about April. I don't want to do it before the due date. So April 10th or April 9th, just to give it like a few days to fully transfer. That way we don't miss out on entering the auction. We don't want any like hiccups or anything. But yeah, we're still bidding on that 5 acres for anyone. I don't know who's on here, but for anyone that's on here, we're still going after that one in Pear Blossom, 5 acres. I looked over at the land on like the Google Maps. There are utility lines right there. So if you did want to pull from electricity, we can, or we can do the whole solar panels. There's a house right at the corner. So not on the property, it's just next to the property. And that just means that if there's a house there, they're probably receiving some kind of utilities, right? So I'm using that as an indicator. Islam, thank you, Hassan. Yeah, so that's where we're at on that. I am still gonna keep my eyes peeled for other properties just as a backup. And I'll go ahead and continue. I'll bring it up every meeting. If I find something different, do the research, go to the county office or the assessor's office to look at the title and things like that, ask questions, just in case for whatever reason this other one doesn't work, right? I always like to have a backup plan. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with this whole land progress. I know we were hoping over at the October auction that, it would go. However, it got pulled. Oh, actually, I called, and the reason why it got pulled was because they were saying something was happening. There was I forgot exactly how they said it. It was an ownership issue, is what they were saying. And from my understanding, with an ownership issue, I believe there was a lack of boundaries issue, where maybe with the owner next to the land was saying, hey, these are like it's my land. And the other person saying, this is my land. So there's an issue of ownership of them fighting over lack of boundaries. So that means that, when or if we go ahead and get this piece of land and property, the next important step would be we'll put it into the trust, and it'd be going to the trust, and then making sure we get a survey so we go ahead and scope out the boundary. That way there's no issues and we have it recorded, right?
Exactly.
So we want to make sure we go about this the right way. After that, then we can go ahead and see how we want to clean up the vegetation and start, really developing on the land. So that's where that piece of land is at, the one over in Pear Blossom. That's where the progress that we're trying to make on that and the information I've gotten. So are there any questions on it, or did
I
you
got a
guys?
crazy question.
Mhm.
Now, as a person, if you was to take out a loan, say $5,000, you could have some small payments up to $300. So if you, as an organization, and
Mhm.
you are in a group, and you could make a loan as a group, wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
your payments be like really small as a group to be able to buy 2 pieces of land? Is that a possibility as a group? You understand?
Do
As an individual, your payments when you take out a $5,000 loan, they're
mm-hmm.
not that much. But
Mm-hmm.
as a group, could your
Mm-hmm.
payments be manageable if you are
Mm-hmm.
true?
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about taking out a loan to go to the auction or taking out a loan to do like financing?
Any way that it would work.
Anyway, it will work. Okay.
So
Hmm.
I think he's
You
talking
understand what I'm
about,
saying?
yeah. So somebody, we meet a landowner and they're willing to do monthly payments essentially.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Owner's financing?
Yeah. Owner financing
As a group.
at a group.
That way
Okay.
our payments would be very cheap monthly. You
Yeah.
understand? The more you got, the cheaper your payment is going to be. And actually, the more you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
Is that something to think about?
it's an option. With that, it would take the people involved to not
Hmm.
miss a beat though. See, with
Yes.
this, what we're doing with this, people putting in, and we did this, build up over the,
Hmm.
these months. But if we're talking about that, saying like, oh, all of us gonna have to make sure we putting in a certain amount, and for sure, like a certain set.
Hmm.
So if we talking about $400 a month, we're gonna have to make sure the Moors that's showing allegiance to this ain't missing no payments. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? All gonna
Or
come out.
maybe it's not even $400 a month because again,
Mm.
you're doing it as a group.
Yeah, yeah, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the
You
number is.
understand?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it
Oh
could be
yeah.
manageable. I think it could be manageable, if we have the right thing,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what? I think the
something to think
way
about.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. We go ahead, we have a big pot and we divide it up, right? That's
mm,
one of the best ways to go about it. Kind of like, if you're doing that with family or siblings, stuff like that. You guys go out to dinner and you split the cost on a
It's
bill.
family. Yeah.
Yeah,
right, right,
that
right.
same thing, right? So I think the way we can go about that is depending on if I can reach the owner. If I can reach, that's
Mm-hmm.
the why we're reaching the owner because we want to see what kind of deal they're willing to make with us, right? So I sent out a letter pretty much saying, hey, look, we're going to take care of the back taxes, which is pretty much the minimum bid, right? The minimum bid's 4,500. So that's all the back taxes and everything. We already have that much. And then whatever extra, let's say they're like, you know what, on top of that, we want 2 grand. Pay the back taxes. We want 2 grand from you. Okay, cool. Then we could talk amongst each other as a group, like, look, can we all scrape up 2 grand? Can we make an agreement or a contract with this owner? Are they willing to even make a contract, right? Or do they want us to pay it right out? Like, we want you to pay 2 grand before the auction on top of the back payments or whatever for the taxes. So
Exactly.
it's really a negotiation on even if the owner
Hmm.
responds to us.
Hmm.
And that's why I sent out the letter. I haven't gotten a response. So the next step would be to call, right? I want to follow up. Hey, did you get the letter? What did you think about it? Are you open to it? Right? I put like just a low number, like 2 grand. Hey, are you willing to take 2 grand? Just see where their headspace is at, you know? And then if they're like, no, we want 5. Okay, let's talk with the group. Could we stretch out the 5 in a year with the owner and do monthly payments like that? Right? Or does the owner want it straight out? So it's really just a conversation,
Hmm.
negotiation kind of tactic with them first. And then after we get an answer, okay, what does the group want to do? Right?
That's true. I like it.
Who wants to
Yeah.
put in on this? What are we gonna do? It's
Hmm.
5 acres. Even after that, because getting the land is just the first thing. They're still developing, they're still
Hmm.
paying for the survey. The survey on 5 acres isn't, it's a little pretty penny. It's not like 10,000, it's probably maybe like 2,500 to 5 grand, something like that, right? But it's a development process to own something,
That's
right?
it.
So that's
We
that's
can own
that
something as an organization together, and then it's
yes.
going to prosper. It's going to prosper.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. And 5 acres, that's a lot of land.
That's a
Imagine
lot of
people
land.
Yeah, imagine people have a house and their house is like 2,400 square foot, like, 4 or 5 bedroom house and a little lot, barely have a backyard, barely have a front yard, houses right next to each other kind of thing. So 5 acres, you can do a lot with 5 acres. So that's why I'm so like I'm really interested in the land and the real estate just because I see the opportunity, and it is developing out there for sure. In Pear Blossom, Pear Blossom is right next to Pear Blossom used to be a part of Sun Village. Mafi is one of the councilmen, and so what they're trying to do out there as a council is they're trying to preserve all the land and make sure we work on land ownership anyways. So we already have a council out there that's proactive about how are we going to do this, who do we need to connect with. So that's why getting this piece of land is also important because it aligns with the members in the council with the city over.
I say we go for it as an organization.
Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
be the first Moorish town in the Americas to the
Yeah.
date.
Yeah. Anybody to help this, like this idea, for example, any more is in the chat. If they want to just look up land in that area, and just bring it back to the group and we can investigate it and check out the specs. But other than that, we're just gonna just see what's out there. That's all we can really do.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you want to look at the list, the auction list that was put out on the 13th, you'd have to go on the LA Auction Tax Collector website. There's going to be a link. I could put it on here, or I could put it in the group chat, but pretty much there's going to be a link and it's going to take you to a website called GovEase. GovEase is where the auction is going to be taking place at. It's the website they're using as a third party. I had to check it out. They usually will put the list on there of all the properties and what the area is like, the APN. We can look that up. But yeah, if you guys want to look at that, that's an option to see what kind of backup plan or if the land's on there, things like that. But yeah, I'll definitely have something for, let's see.
Yeah,
I have
so
something to go to next Sunday, but I'll tap in next Sunday and give everyone a little breakdown of like what I found off the list so far.
it's a good opportunity for like me. I've never had my own land, but I mean, for even the young generation, I mean, this is like a great thing. If they
Mm-hmm.
really think about it, this is a great thing.
Yeah.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Just wanted to say, like, maybe, if the Most High permits and we get a hold of this land, that maybe like y'all would decide to like put a couple of acres to the side and like maybe rent some people who have RVs and stuff, and that can help fund like us building or whatever on there and stuff like that. I just want to
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what we're trying
That's
to do.
it.
Exactly.
Before we start, getting everyone on the land, there's gonna be a process of getting permits and things like that before it's livable. So we could even do like trucks. There's trucks that park on the land on a daily basis and get charged. So because with the RV situation, you have to have hookups and things like that. So the step before that to, bring in some income, which is people that just want to park their trucks. And that's
Truck
temporary.
stop.
Yep, truck
Truck
stop.
stop don't cost anything. Put a bathroom there, and that's it. Paint some lines, put a bathroom where they can take a break.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We'll have something temporary to build up the funds, and that can go towards the survey. That can go towards the development of the land, right? So thinking of business ideas now that we have the piece of land, right? And that way we can start getting people on there. It's gonna be a little process, but I can see it happening as long as we're consistent, as Mafi said. Got to be consistent with everything.
Yeah. Practical. Everything we talking about very practical.
It's
Yeah,
very
people are doing
practical.
it.
And it's doable. Yeah, it's doable. It's
People are
doable.
doing it. People actually go to these auctions as an investment group. Just as we're coming, people do it. They go
Yeah.
because they know this is like it's an unconventional way of real estate, but it's a cheaper way of real estate versus the whole mortgage game. They know that. And that's why they come in and they just buy up a bunch of land and start developing and doing a bunch of things with it. Right? So, this
As a
is
group.
just as a group. Yep. And
Tax
that's what
write-off, baby. Or
Mhm.
no tax at all as a group.
It's
Right?
Mom. One more thing. It's 9 of us on the chat, right? So if everybody right now cash app $5, we will reach our $5,000 goal. I just want to put that out there. Islam.
Mhm. Mhm.
See,
Yeah.
something like that, what's so simple math,
Mhm.
but in numbers.
Mhm.
When you're consistent and you're putting the right thing out, information and trust, not only trust law, but trust in each other. It's so important.
Yep. Yep. They go hand in
Islam.
hand. Trust law and
Islam.
trust.
Islam.
Yep. The same.
Islam.
Yep, Islam. AJ, you got something?
Islam, I'm down to do that. Get to the 5,000 right now.
I'm down right now too.
That's mine. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank
5
you.
on the 9. Peace and love. I
Mhm.
send it over.
I'm
Yeah, just
putting on my 5. Matter of fact, I'm doing mine today.
Mhm.
Put your mouth where your money
Islam.
at, or your money where your mouth at.
Islam. Islam. Yeah, so text me. I think it's just everybody else in here got the information, the cash up or whatnot, but I believe AJ, I have to send that to you. Cash up
Yo,
information.
Cash App, you don't take the Zelle? I gotta
Oh,
send it
yeah,
to
just,
Cash.
you do the Zelle. Yeah, this
Your
I'll text you.
number?
No,
Or no? All
I'm gonna
right. Yeah,
yeah,
text it to me.
text you. Just put in the memo, land trust.
Mhm. Yeah,
Sure.
and whatever everyone contributes, we'll just pay the difference. You know, whatever number we get up to after this call, we'll get the difference, and yeah, we'll just go from there. We'll keep updating everybody and going through it and look through the list and everything. You know, we've been talking
Islam,
about this
all we
for a
need
long
is
time.
Islam. All we need is $59. That's it. Cause I
Mhm.
just sent another 40. So all we need is $59 and we good.
Yep,
Islam.
it's fine.
Islam. Any other thoughts, comments before we close out? All right. Allah. Let me check the chat. Hold on 1 second. Somebody might have said something. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Oh, okay. I'll send you the cash app too, Kelly exclusive. So right when we adjourn the meeting, I'm gonna send the cash app to you, and I'm gonna send the Zelle to Brother AJ when we close out in prayer right now. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah, my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen.
Shalom.
Islam more of everybody a good rest of their day. And
Shalom, brother.
keep the
Appreciate
torch
you.
alive. Islam.
Yeah, it's
Peace and
fine.
love.
Peace.
Peace
Love
and
you,
love.
man.
Peace and love, brothers.
All right.